Okay, so I want to take you through a CoolSculpting patient attraction funnel that we put together for one of our clients. I've changed some of the imagery and some of the wording just to protect the privacy of that particular client. But I do want to tell you a little bit about the situation they found themselves in. They had tried Facebook advertising before and determined that it didn't work for them because they ended up with what they considered to be a number of low quality leads. They get, I think, about 96 people signed up for their offer. They got about 15 of those to come actually come into the office for an assessment. But of those, the vast majority believed that they could take their gift certificate that was the offer and just use that to get a free treatment. They didn't really have a good knowledge of what CoolSculpting was, how much it cost, what was involved in the procedure. So we put together a follow-up campaign that hopefully would address those particular issues. So let me just take you through it. Now, the first thing we always do with a client is try and help them visualize what it is we're trying to accomplish, and we sort of map out a funnel. This particular funnel has 5 components: a paid ad, a landing page, an offer, a call to action, and a nurture campaign. Now, if you don't know what those terms mean, don't worry, we'll go through them. The reason we call it a funnel is because it has this kind of shape to it. You have a large number of people going in on the left-hand side. The job of the funnel is to whittle that number down to a relatively small number, but that relatively small number represents your ideal patient. So with that said, let's put some flesh and bones on this thing. We start off with an ad. It's either an image ad with some copy or it's a video ad. And whether video works best or an image ad works best is determined on a number of different factors, which we can get into if we decide to start working together on this. But those clicks will lead you to a landing page. We use ClickFunnels to build our landing pages, but there are other ways to build them. Lead Pages is one, and a bunch of other different companies that make great software for building landing pages. That takes patients to an offer, either a substantial discount or the ability to download some information. The idea is that they have to give you an email address in order to get this offer, and the offer needs to be substantial. It needs to be something quite compelling. Now, if they go onto that landing page and don't download the offer, we do have the ability through the use of pixels to retarget those people and give them another opportunity somewhere down the road. That ad can be targeted directly to people who landed on the page but didn't take advantage of the offer. And that's something we do. It's a good way to get relatively inexpensive additional clicks by retargeting. But once they have that offer, they can then schedule an appointment, ideally straight away, but we then put them into a nurture sequence, a follow-up sequence of emails and phone calls, which gives them an opportunity at any time during that sequence to book an appointment at a later date. So the funnel isn't over just because they have received their offer and been given an opportunity to book an appointment. It goes on, and sometimes for weeks and months on. It's about building a relationship, and these people can come back sometimes months after the fact and book an appointment. So the key is to track those people so you know how effective your funnel was. So how does this really look in real life? Let's start with the ad. Now, a big mistake a lot of people make is they think the ad is the be-all and end-all of everything. It isn't. We argue that it represents about 10% of what you actually need to have in place. That said, it is very visible. It's the thing that the end user actually sees in their newsfeed. So a certain amount of work needs to go into what we're going to say in the ad, what's it going to look like. And the other mistake people make is they believe that just coming up with an ad, singular, is enough. We recommend, and everybody who does Facebook advertising successfully tests and tests and tests again, competing different images against one another, competing different offers against one another, different copy. So test and always pick the winners, and as you pick more and more winners based on your cost per click and your other statistics, you'll get a much better result from your advertising campaign over time. It does take time, but testing is key. So what we've got here is 2 ads that we're going to test against one another. Remember, we're trying to target people who have got at least some understanding of what CoolSculpting is. So the image on the left is going right to those people. If they have been following the CoolSculpting story, if they've been into the CoolSculpting website, they will be very familiar with these images of attractive women and sometimes men walking past shop windows or mirrors and feeling really good about the way they look. This is something that Zeltic has been using, the company that makes the CoolSculpting equipment. They've been using this campaign for some time. So this is something that's deliberately targeted at those people. The image on the right is targeted instead to people that we're calling out in our ad copy. Now, the ad copy we'll talk about in the next slide, but we have identified mums of summer as being the target audience. So we've got this attractive woman looking great on a beach. And let's get into the copy now, because that is something that is going to really explain why that particular ad works. Always call out your people that you're targeting in your opening sentence. So apart from the headline, which is "Are you ready for summer?" the opening line of the copy is "Attention mums of summer, will you be ready to hit the beach in a couple of months?" So what that sentence says is creating a certain amount of urgency. We've only got 2 months to sort of resolve this issue. Now we start talking to them again, recognizing that they probably have done some homework and they know a little bit about what CoolSculpting is. I know you're in great shape, you work out, eat well, and generally take great care of yourself, but there are 1 or 2 stubborn areas that might give you pause come bathing suit season. So we're definitely going after people who realize that CoolSculpting is not something for massive weight loss. It's just a sculpting of people who are already relatively within their ideal weight range. Millions of mums like you have found CoolSculpting to be the answer. Talk a little bit about the particular spa. Again, the name blanked out so that we can protect their identity, but there's a good reason why we want people to come to this particular spa rather than just anybody else. Then we talk about the offer itself. For the month of April, and to celebrate the fact that summer is just around the corner, we're offering a $500 gift certificate that you can use towards your first 3 CoolSculpting treatments. Remember, the problem that this particular client had was that people came in with an unrealistic expectation of what this gift certificate would actually give them. So by saying, look, you've got to book three treatments in order for this to be valid, we've already sent up a little trial balloon, if you will, a notification that this is not something you can just walk in and say, hey, where's my free treatment? Click the link below, etc., etc. The final sentence is also important because it says, remember, it takes 2 to 3 months for the full benefits to be showed. So again, we're highlighting something that these people should already know. If they've done their homework and they know a little bit about CoolSculpting, then that is something that they will already realize. It also creates urgency because we're running this in April, and the beach season in this part of the world is July time, so they've got basically 2 to 3 months between now and when they're going to be hitting the beach. So it gives a certain sense of urgency that they really have to do this right now. So the copy is always very important. Subject to editing, we can certainly go back and forth a few times, test some different language, but that is a pretty good place to start with your copy. If they click on the link, they end up on a landing page. Now, a landing page, the idea behind a landing page is that you are asking the end user to do one thing and one thing only, and that is in this case to give us their name, address, and phone number. I see so many people sending traffic to a blog post or to their website, and it's not a good idea because you're going to get these people clicking all over the place, navigating your website, and that may seem like a good thing. They're finding out about your practice, but you're not getting the one thing you need from them, which is the next step in the funnel. Every step in this funnel asks the user to do one thing and one thing only. In this case, give us your information so we can send you your gift certificate. We're looking for name, address, and phone number. Some people would argue that asking for a phone number is not a great idea because it suppresses response rate. But that said, I think it's a good idea because you're trying to weed out the people who are just clicking this thing on a whim and plugging in their email address. By asking for their phone number and implying that you're going to call them, you're weeding out some of the less interested people. And a word about the photograph. This is actually a stock photograph, which I don't like to use. I did have a fabulous photograph of this particular physician with her staff, which would be perfect. But as I say, I took it out because we wanted to keep their identity secret. But at the same time, something like this is a great way to do it. Friendly, approachable people so that the end user can get a real sense of, oh, if I go in here and get this treatment, I'm going to be really meeting some really nice, friendly people. So ideally we don't use stock photographs. We'll send in a photographer if we have to get a shot of your own staff. Go to the thank you page. Once they click on that submit button, first of all, tell them what's going to happen next. We're going to send you that gift certificate. Very important that you reinforce that what they've done is the right thing and that they are going to get to the next stage. The next thing is also critically important. You now are asking them to do one thing, and that is to book their assessment. And we're giving them a compelling reason to do that. If you do it right now, you will receive an Obagi travel kit. Now, I just used that as an example because I've done some campaigns in the past, and that's been a pretty good incentive. It doesn't have to be that. It can be anything. And frankly, you know better than I do what would be a good gift to give them. But you're giving them an incentive to take the next step and do it right away so that it doesn't end up on their to-do list and doesn't get done. Give them the phone number, and that's the next step. So as soon as they get past this, they get an email, and this has to happen immediately. It's all automatic, and we again are reminding them that what they've done is the right thing. Thanks for downloading your gift card. Here it is. But there's one very important thing I need you to do next. Book your assessment by calling this number. Do it right away, reinforcing the fact that there's a gift for them, and they can pick that gift up when they come. Also very important that every now and then you'll get someone who says, well, I did what you told me, mail me my gift, and then they'll cancel the appointment. You can't let them do that. You can get your gift when you come. The next sentence, the next paragraph reinforces two things we've already said. Remember, the gift certificate is only valid for the month of April. We already mentioned that in the ad copy, and it must be applied to a minimum of 3 treatments. So again, we already mentioned that, but there's nothing wrong with reinforcing that. And then kind regards. And that should be from the doctor. I blanked out the doctor's name, but that is something that should be directly from the doctor. Email number 2. This goes out a day or so later. A couple of days ago, you downloaded that gift certificate. We're excited that you did that. But if you haven't done so already, please book your complimentary assessment. This certificate is only valid for the month of April, and there are a lot of people interested in CoolSculpting at this time of year. I'd hate to see you miss out. So what have we done here? First of all, we've reminded them of something they needed to have done. Second of all, we've created urgency by saying there's a lot of people interested. Also, a little bit of social proof that CoolSculpting is a very popular procedure, and also a little bit of fear of missing out, FOMO. I'd hate to see you miss out because you let this small detail slip your mind. So again, 3 things that are also always very important when it comes to marketing: letting folks know to do something, creating a sense of urgency, and creating a sense of FOMO. And then as an added incentive, again, reinforcing the fact that there's a gift for this and reinforcing the phone number. So that is it. That is what the funnel actually looks like. The key part of here that I haven't mapped out, and we could do more emails. You could do emails for weeks and months into the future, but I won't go into that here. The most important piece that I do feel has to be addressed is the idea of a phone call. As you see in the funnel, after 1 email or after 2 emails, it doesn't really matter. Somewhere along the line, someone from the office has to make a phone call and say, did you get your gift certificate? Do you have any questions about the procedure? Try and pre-qualify them a little bit, get some sense of what they know about the procedure, get some sense of how serious they are, and then see if we can't get them in for their free assessment. So that's an important phone call. It has to be made by somebody at your office who is very comfortable making that call. We have done scripts before and helped people really understand what it is they need to say. It is not a heavy-handed sales pitch type call. It really is a just answering any questions you may have type conversation. But really, really important that that gets made, and it gets made in a timely enough fashion. And this client that I was explaining, they had 96 leads and only 15 showed up. I got to tell you, that's not a good ratio, and really they should have had someone calling. And if they were calling and only getting 15 people, then you need to look at what they're saying when they call, what kind of voicemail messages they might be leaving, etc., etc. So that is the program as it's laid out. We do this for all kinds of people. We do it all the time, and we'd love to do something like this for you. But first of all, let's see if we can set up a conversation to get some sense of A, what you've done in marketing on Facebook, and B, what you would like us to perhaps help you with. And if we think we can do something like this for you, I'd love to figure out a way to do that. So thanks very much, and look forward to hearing from you.